October 17th, 1989, 5:04 p.m. Pacific time. Dave Stewart was there in Candlestick Park as the ace of the Oakland A's pitching staff that day. He's now the newly named general manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks and always a son of the city of Oakland. Dr. Jim Betts is a pediatric surgeon who responded to the collapse of the 880 freeway in Oakland, and he performed emergency surgery there, and that is vastly understated what he accomplished that day. Gentlemen, thanks both. Stu, you are, as I said, a son of Oakland. That night, you were drawn to the Cypress superstructure, the pancaked highway. You were there, I believe Peter Gammons wrote in Sports Illustrated, till about 4 o'clock that night. What drew you there?
Well, I mean, first of all, it was on the way to my home. I lived in Emeryville, and passing through that area, actually being on that freeway, brought me to my house. And so on the way home, you know, it was just glaring. It was right there. I couldn't miss it. I have family members that were living in that area, and so I still had concerns for my family members because, as you know, communication, there was none, and so I wasn't able to contact or communicate with any of my family to know if they had made it through it, if they were a part of some of the destruction of the city. I just had no idea.
Dr. Jim Betts, I mentioned emergency surgery, which vastly understates what you had to do in the hours after the quake. You climbed a 60-foot fireman's ladder, and there you encountered a vehicle with some deceased and a 6-year-old boy, and you had to make an immediate decision.
We did. We found that the child was trapped, his leg was crushed, and that we had to perform an amputation. But prior to that, the team who was there, the 8 Oakland firefighters, another surgeon, and an emergency room physician, emergency department physician from our county hospital were all there. And they had to work, the fire rescue people had to work over the next several hours to free one of his legs so that we could amputate the other and remove him from the scene.
You had assumed that both of his parents were among the deceased in this accident, but you discovered otherwise later.
We did. We felt that his father and mother were in the front seat and had been killed immediately. As it turns out, his mother was driving, and it was a female family friend who was in the passenger seat. His father was not there. He was at home or in another location at the time of the Tembler.
And you were there when he found his son?
Yes. The next day, after we did the amputation and brought the child to the hospital, where we performed more surgery on him pretty much throughout the whole night, is that I received word that there was a man downstairs who felt that his children, our child's sister also was involved and brought to the hospital, but that they were here. And it was very confusing for me, along with everything that had gone on that evening, because I thought both of his parents were dead. And when his father came up and came into the intensive care unit, and his son, his child, was in still very critical condition and on a breathing machine, on life support, but he said his name and walked over to him. Remember the chill that I had. It was a sense of relief and just an amazing feeling that there was someone who was still alive. There was someone in the family that was still there for these children.
A moment of redemption there. Ron Schuler, your assistant GM with the A's, Stu, said that for 11 days you had that game face on because you were there lending your support to the rescue workers in Oakland. What was that experience like?
Well, you know, I can't really explain it. You know, there were families that had been removed from their homes because either the homes had collapsed or they weren't homes that they could live in. The firemen and the police were working diligently to be sure that they had removed people from the Cypress structure. You know, there were the workers. I mean, there were 24 hours of work. People that were just, I mean, there were a lot of heroes per se involved in the revival of the city, and it was just unbelievable to to tell you what was going through my mind. There were so many things going through my mind at that time that I can't really put into words one specific thing.
How do you get ready to pitch Game 3 after an experience like that? And you did. You pitched a hell of a Game 3.
You know, I don't really know how I got my mind around it because, you know, I had spent the majority of my nights especially and part of my days over at the structure seeing if I could be of any help to any of the workers, any of the firemen, any of the people that were out there that were removed from their homes. We as a team went to Arizona for, I think it was 10 days to just kind of get away from the city, and if we were going to continue to play, then we had to be ready as a team to play. And so I think partially that helped me to get my mind back on baseball.
Got about 30 seconds, Dr. Betts. I know you feel that telling the story of a quarter century ago is a cautionary tale for the future.
We are in a danger zone, and it's not if a bigger event is going to happen, but when it's going to happen. And being prepared individually and as a society, and we've made great strides, is very important. I would like to stress, when people talk about heroes or people talk about an individual, it isn't an individual or a singular person. An individual event takes place, but in my case, there were many other people in that area. And I think all of us working together for the next event and anything else that is to come upon us is most important. I think that's the biggest lesson that's learned.
There were so many heroes, and they all threw out the first ball for Game 3 as a group. That was quite a memorable scene at Candlestick Park.